Hello and welcome back to the Unscrew Yourself Meal. I'm Val Moreno, and yes, I am your host. And I wanted to let you know that in our first video, if you didn't watch it, it is linked down below so you could go watch it. But we did talk about what this channel is about, and a little bit background about myself. In this video, I wanted to talk to you about more of my history background, how I grew up, how my parents grew up, just to give a little context of what we're going to be talking about on our next video, which will be about generational trauma. If you're interested, please keep watching. So, we will be taking the story back all the way back to my grandparents. I know for a fact that my grandparents had a really rough growing up. My grandma, she took off from her house and she was pregnant with my mom, and she ended up starting a family with my grandfather. She must have been like from 13 to 15 years old when she had my mom. And she was a little child trying to be an adult raising her. My grandfather, on the other hand, he struggled with his family because his father had a farm, and one of his older brothers was like, from what I heard, he was just tyrannical. He took over everything, and he didn't want to give anybody to anyone, and everything was his. And my grandfather decided to leave without anything and start a new path for himself. He ended up starting his own business. My grandmother helped him a lot, and he ended up having a successful business, and he didn't need anyone for anything. But that, it's not say that did not cause traumas. Now, when they had my mom, because of course my grandparents were silent generation, my mom was a boomer. My mom was born in 1954, and it's just a happy little girl. She was healthy and everything like that. But my grandmother was a child. She was a child. Let's put it straight. And all she knew was to be a hard ass. She ended up having a total of 7 kids by the time she was done having kids, and my mom was her #1 ally in taking care of those kids. My mom did not like it, and I feel like that was something very traumatic for her, because she felt like she did not get, she got her childhood stolen, in other words. When she was little, before her siblings started being born, my grandfather was in a bad place. Of course she had it hard. They didn't have all the material stuff, and it was really hard. It was tough. But she had what she needed. But, you know, you want to have your toys, you want to have this, you want to have that. It's normal. So she feels like she never got anything. All she got was just work, work, and work. But at the same time, I've heard a lot of the same stories from my friends' parents. They grew up in the same way, and I think it's just the same thing. And the same thing for my generation, Generation X. We grew up in a world where if you died, your mom would make you walk it off. But anyway, that's just the way it was for everybody. That's why I wanted to make this channel. But anyway, my mom was always in trouble. My grandma wanted her to be more responsible, you know, cook food, clean, take care of her brothers and sisters, go to school, behave, and suck it up, you know. And that really fast forwarded my mom a lot. She ended up getting a job. She graduated high school. She went and got a job, and then she ended up meeting my father. They got married when she was like 18. She just wanted to get the hell out of my grandma's house, I believe. And I feel like she saw my dad as the person that was going to give her everything that my grandparents didn't. And I feel like that immediately was a lot of pressure on him. He tried his best, but when somebody is trying to get something that they need to give to themselves and they can't because they don't know how, turns into a very difficult thing to do. Like, there is no amount of happiness that somebody can give you that you can't give yourself. But if you do not know your value and you do not love yourself and nobody taught you how to respect yourself, self-love, all those good things, then it's going to be really hard for you to do it. And I feel that that dynamic right there was already like flawed from the beginning. And again, this is just my opinion and from where I see things, okay? Nothing is proven. I'm pretty sure my mom would tell you different. And my dad's not here anymore. He passed away 2 years ago, but I'm pretty sure he saw it different as well. But anyway, my dad is a different monster. Even though my mom had it hard, like I see had it hard, because what I saw was that my grandparents loved my mom and they helped her out in every single way they could, financially, emotionally, you name it, they were there. But like I tell you, everybody sees it the way they want. When it came to my dad, I feel like he had it like a lot more rough because his mom left my father with his siblings and my grandfather. She took off on him and she left her kids with my grandfather. And she took off with another man. And she left and turned, never looked back, and never looked back. My grandfather had no idea what to do with all these kids. I mean, you gotta think about it. Back then, it's like the woman would stay at home with the children and the man would go out to work. You know what I mean? Like, they had no idea how to raise children. They don't know what to do with a girl. They didn't know what to do with a boy. Oh my gosh. Well, to make a long story short, he did the best he could. I heard that he did not have a steady job and that he played cards to support his family. And he tried his best to keep all his kids in school and kept them fed and all these things, but all he knew, the only way he knew how to do it was being a hard ass, like just like that silent generation was, you know. They were hard asses, they were mean, and that didn't work. My dad, along with his brothers, I think it was just two sisters, the oldest one and then the youngest one. So the oldest one took off to Germany. I think she married some German guy and took off to Germany. And then the little one was just left there by herself with all the boys. But anyway, that's a different story. My dad and his brothers were always in and out of trouble because they ended up joining some gang. And one day, I think my dad must have been like 10 to 12 years old. He was very young. He decided to flee to Mexico City to go find my grandmother or his mother. And he snuck in a train and he went all the way to Mexico City. And he found her. He found her. He was homeless for a little bit and was, roaming around the streets until he found her. When he finally finds her, this woman turns him away. She tells him that he cannot be seen by her new man because he has no idea that she has kids. So she sent them back on the way. So imagine the trauma that my father got or inherited at that moment. So needless to say that the social norms did not help my mom and my dad in their situation. Not only was back then like trauma and therapy a thing, it's like life was just life and it is what it is, and either you're good at life or you're not. There was nothing of this anxiety or depression or PTSD, none of that. Mind you, my dad was a Vietnam veteran, and I'll tell you more of that story later, but yeah. As the reason why I tell you that the social norms didn't help is because my mom was supposed to take the role of submissive, quiet wife, just taking care of her kids. And my father was supposed to take the role of the caregiver, the breadwinner, and everything like that. And I feel like that was a lot of weight on them because my mom was nothing but, but quiet and submissive. I feel like my mom made life about her and what she needed and where she hurt. And I really feel like, I'm not trying to defend my dad, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to justify his actions or anything like that. I'm just saying that I think this is why he felt so much pressure. And coming from a place where he had lost his brother, his little brother, to an accidental suicide playing Russian roulette. And he had lost, he had a very tragic life, and without being treated or anything like that, just adding this pressure to him, he submitted to drugs and alcohol and violence. My mom became the perpetual victim that was always hurt, and she always needed validation, and she just, it was just a recipe to not have children at that point. At that moment, everything was brewing inside of them and everything like that. So my mom had to deal with my dad's violence. I wish she would have left him, even if I wasn't here. I wish she would have left him because that would have given her an opportunity to just find somebody else better. And when I was born in 1977, my mom's siblings, I feel like they hated me. They hated me from the minute I was born. And I think they hated me because I became my dad's little princess because I looked just like him. And he really, really, really loved me. I was his daughter. Of course he was going to love me. He loved my sister too. But I feel like everybody thought that he loved me more. Because I was new. I was a newborn. Of course he was going to show his love for me like that, And everybody just automatically hated me. And I feel like I started getting bullied the minute that I remember, since I was little. Like, I was always stupid, I was always fat, I was always ugly. Oh my God, the name calling and the bullying, and it was just so rough. It was just so rough, and I had nobody to stand up for me. My grandparents helped me a lot, but it's not as if my grandparents were around all the time. I needed to learn to stand up for myself, but it didn't help because my mom didn't give me anything. She didn't teach us anything. The only thing that I feel like I had a responsibility, my mom had the responsibility of taking care of her brothers and sisters. My mom gave me the responsibility of taking care of her. I felt like my whole life was about making my mom happy and making her feel better because I was her confidant on a lot of the things that my dad did to her. And I was a little kid that had to keep these secrets, and I had no idea what the hell was going on. I was like 6 or 7, for God's sake. And I just felt like it was my responsibility to make my mom happy and make sure that she was okay. I just wanted to see her smile, and she just never did. She was always angry. She was always upset. And I feel like I ended up becoming a people pleaser because of it. I never learned to stand up for myself. I never learned to love myself. I never learned to respect myself because I don't think my mom meant to do any of this, But my mom would give us some tongue lashings like you couldn't believe. It was bad. The things that she would tell us was just horrible, and it really beat down on my confidence. It really did. So when I would go over to my family's house, my grandma's house with all my uncles and aunts, and we kind of grew up like brothers and sisters because they're not too much older than I am. I have an aunt that's actually my sister's age. My mom and my grandma were pregnant at the same time. So everybody after that, it's like 2 years. So from 75 and then 2 years up. That's how old they are. And they just grouped us all together, and we all just behaved like brothers and sisters. And they were little shits, man. I wish I could go back right now knowing what I know and see if they would do any of the things that they did to me back then. You know, that did give me an edge, though. It did give me this resilience, because when I went in school, again, I was bullied. Like, I feel like I was just a victim of bullies. I was bullied by my second grade teacher. So what I'm trying to tell you is that all this starts brewing inside of you, and your brain cells, your genes, everything starts getting screwed up because of all the things that are happening. And it's not just about you, it's about your past, your ancestors, what they went through, how they reacted, what they were taught, what they weren't taught. You know what I mean? So I feel like a pattern of not teaching your children to love themselves is what happened to my family. But anyway, that is what I wanted to talk about today. Thank you so much for watching. I really want to encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. I hope this really encapsulated my story. If you have any more questions, please ask in the comments. I would be more than happy to keep discussing. I know the way I talk is really difficult to keep a straight storyline. I know I jump around a lot. So if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions of how I can fix this, please let me know. Like, share, and subscribe. And please hit that bell to notify you of my following videos. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.